I was sitting at my kitchen table scrolling through Amazon Prime, adding the final Christmas gifts to my cart. Nintendo Switch for my nephew Jake, that beautiful art set. Emma had been eyeing some nice jewelry for my sister-in-law Sarah and professional tools for my brother David. My heart felt warm thinking about their faces Christmas morning. For the past 3 years since David's shoulder injury, I had been covering the kids' private school tuition, groceries, and medical insurance. Family takes care of family, right? Little did I know this would be the last Christmas I would ever spend believing in family loyalty. Before we dive into what happened next, let me know where you are watching from today. Please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel, because what happened next changed everything about how I see family forever. Trust me, you will want to hear how this story unfolds. Growing up, David and I only had each other. We lost our parents when I was 16 and he was 20. Through scholarships and student loans, I worked my way through college and built a solid career as a certified public accountant at Morrison Financial Group downtown. David took a different path working construction until a job site accident damaged his shoulder 18 months ago. The injury left him unable to do heavy lifting, which essentially ended his construction career. That is when I stepped in. David had married Sarah 5 years earlier, and they had two beautiful children. Emma, now 8 years old, was this incredibly artistic little girl who could draw anything she saw. Jake, 6 years old, was pure energy, obsessed with video games and soccer. When David's workers' compensation barely covered their rent, I did not hesitate to help. The kids' private school tuition was $2,400 monthly. Their grocery bill ran about $800. Medical insurance for the family cost $450. I set up automatic payments for everything. Every Christmas for the past 5 years, we gathered at David's house. It had become our tradition. I would arrive early Christmas morning with arms full of presents and spend the day cooking our grandmother's turkey recipe while the kids played with their new toys. Sarah would set the table with the good china we had inherited from our mother. David would carve the turkey, and we would all sit around that dining room table sharing stories and laughing until our stomachs hurt. This year felt different, though. I had been trying to coordinate the Christmas menu with David for over a week, but my texts went unanswered. When I called, every call went straight to voicemail. By Monday, December 18th, I was starting to worry. David always responded to my messages within a few hours. That afternoon, I decided to swing by their house after work. I pulled into the driveway around 6:30 p.m. and noticed two cars I did not recognize parked in front of the house. Through the large front windows, I could see people moving around inside. The warm glow of their Christmas tree lights made everything look so inviting and normal. I knocked on the front door, expecting Emma or Jake to come running like they always did when Aunt Megan visited. Instead, Sarah opened the door. She was wearing a beautiful silver bracelet I had never seen before, and her expression was anything but welcoming. "Oh, Megan. Hi." Her voice was flat, almost surprised to see me. "Hey, Sarah. Is David around? I have been trying to reach him about Christmas dinner planning." Sarah shifted uncomfortably in the doorway, not inviting me inside like she normally would. "David is not home right now. He had some errands to run." That was strange. I could clearly hear his voice coming from the living room, talking to someone about football scores. Before I could say anything, Emma came running from the back of the house, her little arms wrapping around my waist. "Aunt Megan. Mommy, look. Aunt Megan is here. Are you excited about our Christmas party? Daddy said we are having lots of people over this year." Sarah's face went pale. She quickly placed her hands on Emma's shoulders. "Emma, honey, go back and finish your homework." "But Aunt Megan just got here. Can she help me with my math like last time?" "Not tonight, sweetie. Aunt Megan was just leaving." Sarah's grip on Emma's shoulders tightened slightly. I knelt down to Emma's level. "I will help you with math very soon, okay, princess? You keep working hard in school." As I stood back up, I caught Sarah's eye. There was something there I had never seen before. Not just discomfort, but almost guilt. Like she was hiding something important. "Sarah, is everything okay? You seem upset about something." "Everything is fine, Megan. David will call you later about Christmas plans." The way she said it felt final, like she was dismissing me. I had never been dismissed from their home before. This was my family. These were my people. As I walked back to my car, I could not shake the feeling that something was very wrong. By Tuesday evening, I could not take the uncertainty anymore. David had not called like Sarah promised, and my worry was turning into frustration. I needed answers. At 7 p.m., I drove straight to their house, determined to have a real conversation. This time David answered the door. When he saw me standing there, his whole body language changed. His shoulders tensed, and he would not meet my eyes. "Megan, what are you doing here?" "I need to talk to you, David." "What is going on?" "I have been trying to reach you about Christmas dinner for over a week." He stepped aside reluctantly, letting me into the living room where we had shared so many holidays before. The Christmas tree stood in the corner, decorated with ornaments we had collected over the years, including several handmade ones from Emma and Jake. Photos of our family Christmases lined the mantel above the fireplace. "Look, Megan, this year is going to be different." I sat down on the couch where I had spent countless Sunday afternoons playing games with the kids. "Different? How did I do something wrong?" David remained standing, pacing slightly by the window. "It is not about what you did." "Then what is it about you are scaring me?" Sarah emerged from the kitchen, and immediately the energy in the room shifted. Her presence felt hostile, like she had been listening to our entire conversation and was ready for battle. "Just tell her, David. Stop beating around the bush." David looked at his wife, then back at me. "We are having Christmas with Sarah's family this year." Relief flooded through me. Was that all? "Oh, that sounds wonderful. What time should I come over to her parents' house? Should I bring anything special?" The silence that followed was deafening. David and Sarah exchanged a look that made my stomach drop. "Actually," David said slowly, "Sarah's parents think it would be better if it was just immediate family." "But I am family. I am your sister." Sarah crossed her arms and sat down across from me. "David has been talking to my father about your situation." "My situation? What situation?" I could hear Emma and Jake in their bedroom down the hall playing some game and laughing. Their innocent joy felt so distant from the tension filling this room. David stopped pacing and finally looked at me directly. "Sarah's dad offered me a management position at his company." A wave of relief washed over me again. "David, that is wonderful news. With your shoulder injury, desk work would be perfect for you." "There are requirements, though. Image matters in his business. The people you associate with reflect on your character." I was genuinely confused. "What does that have to do with Christmas dinner?" Sarah leaned forward. "He said successful people surround themselves with other successful people. I am successful. I have a great career. I make good money. I help support this family." David sat down heavily in his recliner, the same chair where he used to read bedtime stories to Emma and Jake. "But you do not look successful, Megan. Sarah's family, they have houses, marriages, children. They have stability. I have stability. I own my career. I am financially independent. You are 32 years old, single. No kids, renting an apartment downtown." David's words came out like he had rehearsed them. "You do not have the kind of life that shows you have your priorities straight." The room felt like it was spinning. I looked at Sarah, who was watching this conversation with what almost looked like satisfaction. "David, what are you saying exactly?" He took a deep breath, and for a moment I saw my little brother, who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms. Then his expression hardened again. "Sarah's dad said Christmas dinner is no place for losers who cannot get their life together." The words hit me like a physical blow. I felt my breath catch in my throat. He is right, Megan. Maybe instead of trying to buy your way into our family, you should focus on fixing your own problems. I sat there staring at this man who looked like my brother, but sounded like a stranger. Sarah was barely hiding a smirk now. In the background, I could hear Jake asking Emma if they could stay up late on Christmas Eve. Maybe it is time you learn to stand on your own feet instead of living vicariously through other people's families. Something incredible happened in that moment. Instead of crying or arguing or begging them to reconsider, I felt this profound sense of clarity wash over me. It was like suddenly seeing a puzzle picture that had been right in front of me all along. I stood up slowly, smoothing down my skirt, and looked at David with a calm I did not know I possessed. You know what, David? You are absolutely right. David's expression changed from defensive to confused. I am completely right. I should stop trying to buy my way into family. That was unfair of me. Sarah shifted uncomfortably on the couch. This was clearly not the reaction either of them had expected. I agree completely with Sarah's father. Losers like me have no business trying to support successful people like you. I pulled out my cell phone and scrolled to my contacts. David was watching me nervously now. What are you doing? Megan. I pressed call and put the phone on speaker. The automated system for Riverside Academy answered after 2 rings. Riverside Academy. How may I help you? Yes, I need to cancel automatic tuition payments for Emma and Jake Morrison effective immediately. David's face went completely white. Megan, what are you doing? Account holder Megan Thompson. The children's father is David Morrison. I can help you with that. Can you verify the account details? As I rattled off the account information, Sarah stood up abruptly. Wait, you cannot just cancel their school. Ma'am, I show payments of $2,400 monthly. Would you like to cancel future payments or the entire enrollment? Future payments only. The children can finish this semester. David was suddenly standing too, his hands shaking slightly. Megan, stop. Let us talk about this. Thank you, I said to the school administrator. Please send confirmation to my email. I hung up and immediately dialed the next number. Blue Cross Blue Shield Member Services. I need to cancel medical insurance coverage for the Morrison family policyholder, Megan Thompson. Megan, please. David's voice was rising now, and I could hear the kids getting quiet in their bedroom, probably listening. I can help you with that cancellation. Can you verify the primary policyholder's information? Sarah was pacing now, and I could see her doing math in her head, calculating exactly how much money they were about to lose. Ma'am, I show a family plan covering 4 individuals at $450 monthly. What effective date would you like for the cancellation? January 1st. When I hung up that call, the room was completely silent, except for the sound of the Christmas tree lights humming softly. David sank back into his chair. Megan, I did not mean we should completely cut ties. You are still family. No, David. You made it very clear. I am a loser who needs to focus on my own problems. I scrolled through my phone again. I should definitely stop living vicariously through other people's families. I dialed the grocery delivery service. Fresh Direct, how can I help you? I need to cancel weekly grocery deliveries to the Morrison household on Maple Street. Sarah finally found her voice. You pay for our groceries. $800 monthly, I confirmed to the customer service representative. Yes, please cancel effective immediately. David was staring at me like he had never seen me before. Megan, I think we should discuss this privately. There is nothing to discuss. You have made your position clear. Successful people like you and Sarah should not associate with losers like me. I am simply agreeing with your assessment. I made 3 more phone calls. The children's dentist canceling their upcoming appointments and removing my payment authorization. The music lesson studio ending Emma's piano lessons. Jake's soccer league, withdrawing my sponsorship of his team fees. With each call, I watched David's face grow more panicked, and Sarah's expression change from smug satisfaction to dawning horror. From down the hall, Emma's voice called out, "Mommy, why is Aunt Megan talking about canceling my piano lessons?" Sarah rushed toward the children's rooms, probably to distract them from overhearing more. "David," I said, putting my phone away, "I want you to know that I understand completely. Your wife's father is offering you an opportunity, and you need to present the right image. A successful man cannot be dragged down by loser relatives who rent apartments and lack the wisdom to get married and have children by age 32. Megan, I never said you were dragging me down." You did not have to say it directly. The message was clear. I picked up my purse and walked toward the front door. "I wish you all the best with your new job and your Christmas celebration with people who actually matter." As I reached for the door handle, David jumped up. "Wait. Can we please talk about this rationally?" I turned back to him, and for just a moment I felt sad for the brother I used to know. "There is nothing irrational about this, David. You asked me to focus on my own problems instead of trying to buy family relationships. That is exactly what I am going to do. But the kids' school will require payment from their parents like every other family. You and Sarah are capable adults. You will figure it out." Sarah came back into the living room, her face flushed. "David, do you have any idea how much money she was giving us every month?" "I am standing right here, Sarah. You can ask me directly." She turned to me, and I could see genuine panic in her eyes now. "How much?" $3,650 monthly, not including special occasions, medical emergencies, or holiday gifts. David sat down heavily. $3,600. Plus I paid for Jake's soccer camp last summer, Emma's art supplies, your car repairs in October, and I believe Sarah's dental work in September ran about $1,200. The color drained completely from Sarah's face. "But do not worry," I continued cheerfully. "Your father's company sounds very prestigious. I am sure the salary will easily cover everything, and if not, successful people always find a way to maintain their image." I opened the front door and stepped out into the crisp December evening. Merry Christmas to you both. I hope you have a wonderful celebration with people who actually deserve your time. Christmas Day arrived gray and cold, but I woke up feeling lighter than I had in months. Instead of spending the morning wrapping last-minute gifts and preparing turkey for people who saw me as a burden, I volunteered at the downtown homeless shelter. I served breakfast to 67 people who were genuinely grateful for kindness, no strings attached. The volunteer coordinator, Mrs. Patterson, was a retired teacher who had been running the Christmas program for 15 years. "Megan, you have such a natural way with people. Have you ever considered joining our regular volunteer team?" As I ladled scrambled eggs onto plates and listened to stories from people who had lost everything but still found reasons to smile, I realized something profound. This felt more like family than any Christmas dinner I had shared with David and Sarah in recent years. Around 3 p.m., my phone started ringing. David's name appeared on the screen. I let it go to voicemail. Then he called again. And again. By evening, I had 17 missed calls and 12 text messages. "Megan, please call me back. We need to talk. The school called. They want payment by January 3rd, or the kids will be dropped. Sarah is freaking out about the insurance. Please just call me. I screwed up. I know I screwed up. Please give me a chance to explain." I spent that evening at my friend Jenna's house playing board games with her family and helping her twin daughters build a puzzle. When little Amy hugged me goodnight and said, "Miss Megan, will you come to our New Year's party too?" I realized what real family actually felt like. The following week brought a steady stream of calls from David that I did not answer. On December 30th, my building's doorman called up to my apartment. "Miss Thompson, there is a David Morrison here to see you. Should I send him up? Please tell him I am not receiving visitors." An hour later, David was still in my lobby. The doorman called again. Miss Thompson, the gentleman, says he will wait as long as necessary. He looks pretty upset. I went downstairs to find David sitting in one of the leather chairs near the elevator, looking like he had not slept in days. When he saw me, he stood up quickly. "Megan, thank God. I have been trying to reach you for a week. I got your messages, David." "All of them." "The school enrollment deadline is tomorrow. If we do not pay, Emma and Jake will have to transfer to public school mid-year. Do you know how traumatic that will be for them?" I looked at my brother, really looked at him. His hair was messy, his clothes wrinkled, and there were dark circles under his eyes. "What happened to the management job with Sarah's father?" David's shoulders sagged. "The company had budget cuts right after Christmas. The position was eliminated before it ever officially existed. I am sorry to hear that. Sarah's parents are furious about Christmas dinner. Apparently Sarah told them some version of our conversation that made me sound like an ungrateful jerk. Some version. She may have left out the part about calling you a loser. Her parents think I randomly decided to cut you out of our lives after everything you have done for us." I crossed my arms. "And what do you think, David? I think I am an idiot who almost lost the most important person in his life because I was scared and desperate and listening to the wrong people." We stood there in the marble lobby of my building, this space that David had once described to Sarah's parents as proof that Megan wastes money on unnecessary luxury instead of investing in real assets like property. "David, do you remember what you said to me about learning to stand on my own feet?" "I was wrong, Megan. I was completely wrong." "No, you were not wrong about that part. I did need to learn to stand on my own feet, just not in the way you meant. I do not understand. For 3 years I have been so afraid of losing the only family I had left that I let myself become a bank account instead of a sister. I enabled you to avoid responsibility for your own life, because I thought that was what love looked like." David started to speak, but I held up my hand. "I learned something important this week. Family is not about obligation or debt, or proving your worth through what you can provide. Real family chooses to include you because they value who you are, not what you can do for them. I do value who you are. Do you? Because when I lost my financial usefulness to you, you were willing to exclude me completely to impress people you barely knew." David was quiet for a long moment. "What can I do to fix this? You can start by taking responsibility for your family's needs without expecting me to be your safety net. You can apologize to your children for the chaos you have created in their lives. And you can decide whether you want a sister or a sponsor." "I want my sister back." "Then you need to prove that you can be my brother without my money being part of the equation." I started walking toward the elevator. "Megan, wait. What about the kids' school? What about it? They will have to change schools in the middle of the year. Yes, they probably will. And that will be a consequence of choices you and Sarah made. Not my responsibility to fix. But they are innocent in all this. You are right, they are innocent. Which is why I will help in genuine emergencies involving their immediate health and safety. But their private school tuition is not an emergency. It is a luxury that their parents cannot afford. So you will help sometimes. I will consider helping when you ask respectfully, when you have exhausted your own resources first, and when you understand that my help is a gift, not an obligation." I pressed the elevator button. "Most importantly, when I know that your love for me is not dependent on my willingness to provide that help." The elevator doors opened. As I stepped inside, David called out, "What about Christmas next year?" "Ask me next November, David. If you have spent the year treating me like family instead of like a benefactor, maybe we can talk about it." 2 months later, David did get a job. Not the prestigious management position he had dreamed about, but honest work at a local hardware store that paid enough to cover their basic expenses. Sarah had to return to her previous job at the medical clinic. Emma and Jake transferred to the excellent public school in their district, where Emma joined the art club and Jake made the soccer team. David called me once a month not to ask for money but to share genuine updates about his life and to ask about mine. Slowly, carefully, we began rebuilding something that looked more like a real relationship between siblings. This past Christmas, I celebrated with Jenna's family and my volunteer team from the homeless shelter. It was the most meaningful holiday I had experienced in years. On Christmas afternoon, David sent me a photo of Emma and Jake playing with toys they had saved up to buy for each other, along with a message: "Thank you for teaching me the difference between helping and enabling. We are learning to stand on our own feet, and it feels good." I learned that sometimes people mistake kindness for weakness until they lose both. True family accepts you as you are not for what you can provide. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to stop rescuing someone from the natural consequences of their own choices. The greatest gift I gave myself that Christmas was the knowledge that my worth is not measured by how much I give away, but by how much I respect myself enough to require others to earn what I offer freely. What would you have done in my situation? Have you ever had family members take your generosity for granted? Let me know in the comments below, because I love reading your stories and perspectives. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and share it with someone who might need to hear this message. And do not forget to subscribe for more real-life stories about setting boundaries and finding your self-worth. Thank you so much for listening today, and I hope you all have relationships built on mutual respect and genuine love, not just on what you can do for each other.